First contact, first blood. The endless expanse of stars bore silent witness to the carnage. Flashes of energy weapons carved burning trails across the void as warships of the Aetherian Collective and the Dracari Imperium tore at each other's hulls. The battle had raged for weeks in this neutral system, one of countless skirmishes in a war that had consumed the galaxy for nearly a century. Commander Vrex of the Aetherian vessel Starlight Ascendant watched in despair as another of his escort ships erupted into a ball of plasma. His fleet was dying. The Dracari had brought 3 dreadnoughts to this engagement, massive vessels of living metal that regenerated damage almost as quickly as it was inflicted. "Shields at 17%, Commander," reported his first officer, her bioluminescent skin pulsing with anxiety. "The evacuation pods are ready." Vrex's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a gesture of resignation among his kind. "Send the distress beacon on all frequencies. Perhaps the Council will send reinforcements." "Sir, the nearest Aetherian fleet is 3 cycles away. We won't last another hour." As if to punctuate her assessment, the ship rocked violently as another Dracari energy lance sliced through their weakening defenses. "Then we die with honor," Vrex declared, mandibles clicking with grim determination. But the universe, it seemed, had other plans. 3 months earlier, on Earth, Dr. Elena Reyes had been enjoying her morning coffee when the sky caught fire. The alien vessel, later identified as an Aetherian diplomatic courier, crashed into Lake Michigan with enough force to trigger seismographs across the continent. By the time military and scientific teams reached the wreckage, only 3 survivors remained from its original complement of 22. Elena, as the world's leading xenobiologist, was among the first humans to communicate with the aliens. Through a combination of advanced translation algorithms and the Aetherians' own linguistic database, humanity learned of the galactic war that had been raging beyond their solar system. "We did not know your kind had achieved spaceflight," explained Zilar, the highest-ranking survivor. The alien's translucent skin revealed pulsing organs beneath as it spoke. "Your system lies in what our charts label as dead space, an area believed devoid of intelligent life. We've only reached our own moon and sent probes to nearby planets," President Chen admitted during a secure video conference. "We're hardly spacefaring by your standards." Ziller's inner lights dimmed. "Then we have brought our war to innocence. For this, we are deeply sorry." In the weeks that followed, the Aetherians shared knowledge of the conflict. The Dracari Imperium, a species of silicon-based sentience with a hive-mind consciousness, had been systematically conquering or exterminating other civilizations for generations. The Aetherian Collective and their allies had formed the last line of resistance, but they were losing. "Their technology adapts to our weapons," Zyler explained during a briefing with Earth's United Military Command. "What works once rarely works twice against them." General Mohammed Abbasi, chairman of the Joint Chiefs, leaned forward. "And what makes you think we could help? Our technology must seem primitive to you." The alien's inner lights pulsed with what Elena had come to recognize as amusement. "Sometimes, Commander, it is precisely the primitive that proves most effective against the advanced." The United Nations Security Council vote was unanimous, an unprecedented event in itself. Humanity would not stand idle while the galaxy burned, especially when there was no guarantee the Dracari would continue to overlook Earth if they achieved total victory. Project Thunderhead was initiated with unprecedented global cooperation. Using the Aetherians' theoretical knowledge of faster-than-light travel combined with human ingenuity, engineers began construction of humanity's first true warship in orbit around Mars. Dr. Victor Constantin, the project's lead weapons designer, presented his concepts to a stunned audience of military officials and Aetherian advisors. "Directed energy weapons are elegant," he acknowledged, "but the Dracari have adapted to them. What they haven't encountered are kinetic kill vehicles at relativistic speeds." On the display screen, simulations showed tungsten rods accelerated to near light speed, their impact yielding energy comparable to nuclear detonations without the radiation. "Your species thinks differently," Zyler observed afterward. The collective abandoned physical projectiles millennia ago. Elena, who had become the unofficial liaison to the aliens, smiled. We're still close enough to our primitive roots to appreciate throwing a really big rock. 6 months later, the UNSS Prometheus was complete, a vessel unlike anything seen in the galaxy. Unlike the sleek, organic designs of the Aetherians or the crystalline structures of the Dracari, the human warship was angular and utilitarian. Its hull, composed of layered graphene composites and reactive armor, bristled with rail guns, missile launchers, and point defense systems. At its heart lay humanity's greatest achievement, a fusion drive capable of bending space-time itself, built upon Aetherian principles, but executed with human pragmatism. Captain Maya Huang stood on the bridge of the Prometheus as final preparations were made for departure. A veteran of the Pan-Asian Navy, she had been selected to command Earth's first interstellar mission from among thousands of qualified candidates. Engineering reports the drive is nominal. Captain, her XO, Commander John Okafor, reported. We can depart whenever you're ready. Maya nodded, feeling the weight of 7 billion souls watching from the planet below. Communications, send final acknowledgement to control. We are proceeding as planned. On the main view screen, President Chen appeared for a final address. Captain Huang, crew of the Prometheus. You carry with you not just the hopes of humanity, but our determination to stand against tyranny wherever it exists. Your mission is to assess the threat, assist our Aetherian allies if possible, and return with the intelligence we need to defend our world. Go with the prayers and pride of every nation. Maya stood at attention. We will not fail, Madam President. Zilar and the other Aetherian survivors had provided coordinates for a star system where a major engagement was expected, a place where the Prometheus could observe combat tactics before potentially revealing itself. As the countdown reached 0, Maya took her command chair. Engage the Alcubierre drive. Lieutenant Santiago, take us out. The stars outside the viewports streaked and blurred as the Prometheus folded space around itself, vanishing from Earth's solar system for the first time in human history. The journey took 23 days by ship time. For the crew, it was a period of intense training and preparation. The Aetherian data had been integrated into their combat systems, and simulations ran continuously as they honed their unique tactics. The Dracari rely heavily on predictive algorithms, explained Lieutenant Commander Rashid during a tactical briefing. They expect their opponents to behave logically, to seek optimal solutions. Our advantage lies in human unpredictability. Maya studied the battle plans. Then we'll give them chaos they can't compute. When the Prometheus finally dropped out of FTL at the edge of the contested system, they immediately detected the energy signatures of a massive battle in progress. Long-range sensors showed the unmistakable signs of a rout. The Aetherian forces were being systematically destroyed by a larger Dracari fleet. Receiving a distress signal on all frequencies, Captain, reported Ensign Park from communications. It's Aetherian encryption. Let's hear it, Maya ordered. The bridge speakers crackled with the translated voice of an Aetherian commander. Repeat, this is Commander Vrex of the Starlight Ascended **. Our fleet is critically damaged. Requesting immediate assistance from any collective vessels. The Dracari are targeting civilian transports. **. Maya's expression hardened. She had hoped for time to observe, to gather intelligence before committing to action. But civilians were dying while she watched. Tactical assessment, she demanded. Commander Okafor analyzed the sensor data. 3 Dracari dreadnoughts, supported by approximately 20 lighter vessels. The Aetherian fleet is down to 1 command ship and 7 escorts, all heavily damaged. Civilian vessels are attempting to flee the system but being targeted systematically. Maya needed only seconds to decide. Battle stations. Bring all weapon systems online and prepare for maximum acceleration. We're going in. Klaxons sounded throughout the ship as the crew rushed to their combat positions. The Prometheus surged forward, its engines pushing the massive vessel to speeds that would have torn apart most spacecraft. They haven't detected us yet, Rashid noted. We're still running cold. Maya nodded. Let's keep it that way until the last possible moment. Plot an intercept course that will bring us between the Drakari and the civilian transports. The bridge crew worked with practiced efficiency, tension evident in every movement, but overshadowed by determination. This was what they had trained for. Humanity's first stand among the stars. Intercept in 30 seconds, Okafor announced. Weapons are hot, and targeting solutions locked. Maya took a deep breath. Open a channel on all frequencies. Let's introduce ourselves. As the Prometheus closed the final distance, Maya's voice rang out across the battlefield. Attention all vessels. This is Captain Maya Huang of the United Nations, Starship Prometheus, representing Earth. Drakari forces, stand down your attack on civilian vessels immediately or face the consequences. For a moment, there was only silence. Then the tactical display showed the Drakari vessels pausing in their assault, sensors sweeping toward this unexpected new arrival. A harsh, synthetic voice responded. Unidentified vessel, this conflict does not concern you. Depart immediately or be destroyed. Maya smiled grimly. I was hoping you'd say that. Weapons free, Mr. Rashid. Show them how humans fight. The Prometheus revealed itself then, dropping its thermal masking as its primary railgun, charged with a building whine that resonated through the hull. The massive tungsten projectile, 3 meters long and accelerated to 0.1 c, streaked across space toward the nearest Drakari dreadnought. The alien vessel's defensive systems, calibrated for energy weapons and conventional missiles, registered the threat too late. The kinetic penetrator struck the dreadnought's port flank, the sheer energy of impact converting instantly to heat and force. The dreadnought didn't explode so much as shatter, its living metal hull ripped apart from the inside as the projectile's energy dispersed through its structure. For a breathless moment, the battlefield fell silent. All eyes, organic and synthetic, fixed on the impossible sight of a Drakari dreadnought breaking into pieces. Then Maya's voice cut through the stunned silence. That was a warning shot. The next one hit your command vessel, unless all weapons are powered down immediately. And for the first time in the century-long war, the Drakari hesitated. The tide of iron and hope. The destruction of the Drakari dreadnought hung in space like a monument. Shattered pieces of living metal slowly drifting apart, occasionally sparking with residual energy. Captain Maya Huang watched the tactical display as the remaining Drakari vessels regrouped, their formation shifting from attack to defensive posture. They're communicating with each other on encrypted channels, Ensign Park reported. Massive data transfers, probably trying to analyze what just hit them. Commander Okafor studied the sensor readings. Rail gun capacitors at 60% recharge. 4 minutes until we can fire another full power shot. Maya nodded. Keep the targeting solution locked on their command ship. Let them see we're not bluffing. She turned to communications. Any response to our ultimatum? Nothing direct, Captain, Park answered. But the civilian transports report the Drakari have ceased targeting them. They're withdrawing to the system's edge. A sudden alert chimed from the tactical station. Captain, the Aetherian command ship is hailing us, Rashid announced. On screen, Maya ordered. The view screen flickered to show an Aetherian bridge, smoky with damage, emergency lighting casting everything in a blue glow. At its center stood a tall, four-eyed alien with translucent skin showing bioluminescent organs pulsing with excitement. Unknown vessel, I am Commander Vrex of the Starlight Ascendant. Your intervention was most unexpected. On behalf of the collective, I extend our deepest gratitude. Maya stood. Commander Vrex, I'm Captain Huang of the Earth ship Prometheus. We received your distress call and responded as any civilized species would. Vrex's inner lights pulsed rapidly. Earth, the primitive world where our diplomatic courier crashed. Impossible. No species develops interstellar capabilities so quickly. When properly motivated, humans can be remarkably resourceful, Maya replied with a slight smile. Is your ship still combat capable? Barely, Vrex admitted. Our primary weapons are offline, and shields are critical. We were preparing final evacuation when you arrived. The tactical display chimed again. Captain, the Drakari are moving, Rashid reported. 2 of their light cruisers are advancing toward us. The rest maintain formation around their remaining dreadnoughts. Maya's eyes narrowed. Testing our resolve. Target the lead cruiser with secondary railguns, 20% power. Let's not waste a primary shot on them. The Prometheus shuddered slightly as its secondary batteries fired, launching smaller but still devastating projectiles toward the approaching Drakari vessels. The lead cruiser attempted evasive maneuvers, but the kinetic rounds adjusted course with surprising agility. When they struck, the cruiser's shields flared brightly before collapsing, hull armor buckling under forces it was never designed to withstand. The vessel didn't disintegrate like the dreadnought had, but it tumbled helplessly, massive breaches visible across its structure. The second cruiser immediately reversed course. They're retreating to their main force, Okafor observed. Maya turned back to the view screen where Commander Vrex watched with all 4 eyes widened in what Elena had once described as Aetherian astonishment. Your weapons technology. Vrex began, mandibles clicking rapidly. We abandoned kinetic weaponry eons ago, when defensive shields made them obsolete. Sometimes old solutions solve new problems, Maya replied. Can your remaining ships reach the jump point if we provide cover? Vrex's inner lights dimmed slightly. What Elena had taught her was a sign of calculation or contemplation. Yes, but the Drakari will pursue once they adapt to your weapons. Let us worry about that, Maya assured him. Begin your withdrawal. The Prometheus will ensure you reach safety. As the communication ended, Lieutenant Commander Rashid approached her chair. Captain, with respect, we can't fight the entire Drakari fleet. Once they analyze our capabilities, they'll adapt their tactics. Maya nodded. I'm counting on it. They've never encountered humanity before. They don't know our full capabilities, and more importantly, they don't know how we think. She turned to her XO. Commander Okafor, is the package ready? Yes, Captain. Engineering reports all systems nominal. Maya allowed herself a small smile. Then let's show the Drakari why picking a fight with humanity was their worst mistake today. High Admiral Zektfor observed the strange vessel through the Drakari hive mind's sensory network. The ship defied conventional design parameters. Blocky, inefficient, with none of the elegant biomechanical integration that marked advanced species. Yet it had destroyed a dreadnought with a single shot. Analysis, he demanded of the hive consciousness. Data streamed directly into his neural pathways. Unknown vessel employs primitive kinetic weapons utilizing mass accelerated to significant fractions of light speed. Shield configurations optimized for energy diffusion are ineffective against such crude applications of force. Reconfigure all shields to compensate, Zektfor ordered. Prepare temporal phase disruptors for firing sequence. The vessel's capabilities remain largely unknown. Additional data required for optimal engagement. The High Admiral's crystalline appendages clicked in annoyance. Send 3 more cruisers to probe its defenses. Different vectors, staggered approach. I want complete scan penetration of its hull structure. They're making another move, Captain, Rashid reported. 3 cruisers approaching from different angles. Complex scan patterns detected. Maya had anticipated this. They're trying to get our measure. Let them come a bit closer. She turned to her weapons officer. Deploy countermeasures on my mark. And ready the mimic system. The mimic system, multiple independent molecular interaction clusters, represented humanity's most sophisticated electronic warfare package. Developed from concepts shared by the Aetherians, but executed with human creativity, it could project false sensor readings and disrupt enemy targeting systems. As the Drakari cruisers closed to medium range, Maya gave the order. Countermeasures now. Mimic active, full spectrum. The space around the Prometheus suddenly bloomed with dozens of identical sensor signatures. Perfect duplicates of the human warship appeared on Drakari scanners, each seemingly solid and real. Simultaneously, a barrage of small, fast-moving drones launched from the Prometheus, their hulls coated with materials designed to absorb and reflect scanning beams in confusing patterns. On the Drakari vessels, targeting systems faltered, attempting to lock onto phantoms while their scan results returned contradictory data. Main gun fully charged, Captain Okafor reported. Target the lead dreadnought. Fire when ready, Maya ordered calmly. The Prometheus shuddered as its spinal railgun fired again, the massive tungsten rod streaking across space. This time, however, the Drakari were somewhat prepared. The dreadnought's shields visibly reinforced, drawing power from other systems to create a layered defense specifically designed to absorb kinetic impacts. The rod struck the first shield layer and slowed fractionally, then the second, losing more velocity. By the third layer, it had slowed considerably, but the Drakari had miscalculated the sheer mass and speed of the human weapon. The projectile punched through the final shield and struck the dreadnought's bow, tearing through meters of living metal before its energy dissipated. The dreadnought reeled but remained intact, grievously wounded rather than destroyed. They adapted quickly, Rashid noted with professional admiration. As expected, Maya replied. Status of the Etherian fleet. Making good progress toward the jump point, Captain. 8 minutes until they're clear. Maya nodded. Then it's time for Phase 2. Engineering, prepare the package for deployment. Helm, plot an intercept course with the Drakari command ship. The bridge crew exchanged glances. This was the most dangerous part of their plan. Deliberate close engagement with a technologically superior enemy. All hands, secure for high maneuvers, Maya announced ship-wide. This is going to get rough. The Prometheus surged forward, acceleration pressing the crew into their seats despite the inertial dampeners. The human vessel, boxy and utilitarian compared to the elegant alien designs, suddenly demonstrated surprising agility as it cut directly toward the heart of the Drakari formation. They're responding, Rashid reported. All vessels converging to protect their command ship. Maya smiled grimly. Perfect. On the Drakari command vessel, High Admiral Zektor watched in confusion as the alien ship charged directly toward them. Such tactics defied rational analysis. No species with the technology for interstellar travel would be so primitive as to attempt a ramming maneuver. Prepare all weapons, he ordered. When they come within range, I want every disruptor firing. The vessel's approach vector is unusual, the hive mind noted. Predictive algorithms cannot determine intended trajectory. They're primitives, Zektor dismissed. Their tactics are as crude as their weapons. As the human vessel closed the distance, the Drakari fleet unleashed its full firepower, beams of coherent energy and gravity distortion fields lashing out to intercept the approaching threat. Alarms blared across the Prometheus as Drakari weapons found their mark. The ship shuddered under repeated impacts, shields flaring with each hit. Shields at 60%, Okafor reported, voice steady despite the situation. Hull integrity holding. Maya gripped her chair arms. Distance to target. 20,000 kilometers in closing. The helm officer answered. Intercept in 40 seconds. Engineering, status of the package. Lieutenant Commander Lee's voice came through slightly distorted by interference. Package armed and ready for deployment, Captain. We'll only get one shot at this. The ship rocked again as a particularly powerful blast struck their starboard side. Shields at 43%, Okafor updated. We're taking damage faster than predicted. Maya watched the tactical display, calculating times and distances. Stay on course. All power to forward shields. The Prometheus plunged deeper into the Drakari formation, weapons firing continuously now. Not the massive railgun, but scores of smaller projectiles and conventional missiles that forced the enemy ships to divide their attention. 10 seconds to optimal deployment range, Rashid announced. Maya leaned forward. Helm, prepare for maximum burn on my mark. Engineering, standby. The Drakari command ship loomed before them now, a massive crystalline structure bristling with weapon emplacements, its surface pulsing with what appeared to be flowing circuitry. "Mark," Maya shouted. Two things happened simultaneously. The Prometheus fired its engines at maximum thrust in a punishing deceleration maneuver, and from its ventral launch bay, it deployed the package, a swarm of what appeared to be simple metallic spheres. The spheres shot forward, carried by momentum toward the Drakari command ship. As they approached, they split apart into hundreds of smaller objects, spreading in a cloud that enveloped the massive vessel. Package deployed. Lie confirmed. Detonation in 3, 2, 1. There was no explosion. Instead, the tiny devices, each containing a specialized electromagnetic pulse generator developed using Etherian insights into Drakari technology, activated simultaneously. A wave of invisible energy washed over the command ship, targeting the specific frequencies used by the living metal and crystalline technologies of the Drakari. On the Drakari vessel, systems began failing cascadingly. The living metal components that formed the ship's nervous system seized and contracted, while the crystalline computer nodes that housed the distributed consciousness temporarily fragmented. Direct hit, Rashid reported with satisfaction. Their systems are going haywire. Maya didn't waste a moment. All weapons, target their secondary vessels. Helm, evasive pattern delta. Let's keep them confused while the EMP does its work. The Prometheus veered away from the temporarily disabled command ship, firing its conventional weapons at surrounding Drakari vessels that were now operating without central coordination. Etherian status, Maya demanded. They've reached the jump point, Captain, Park reported. Commander Vrex is hailing us. On screen. Vrex appeared, his inner lights pulsing rapidly with what Maya now recognized as urgency. Captain Huang, we are prepared to make the jump to safety. You must disengage and join us immediately. Negative, Commander, Maya replied calmly. We still have work to do here. The Prometheus will ensure the Drakari cannot pursue you. But your vessel will be destroyed, Vrex protested. Maya smiled. Don't underestimate human stubbornness, Commander. We'll see you at the rendezvous coordinates. As the communication ended, Maya turned to her crew. The EMP effect won't last long. Target the disabled command ship with all remaining kinetic penetrators. We need to finish this now. The Prometheus swung about, bringing its main weapons to bear once more on the Drakari flagship. This time, there would be no shields to absorb the impact. 3 hours later, the Prometheus limped toward the designated rendezvous point, its hull scarred and breached in multiple locations. Emergency force fields contained the worst of the damage, but the proud vessel bore the unmistakable marks of severe combat. Inside the medical bay, Dr. Natalia Chen worked tirelessly with her team, treating the 27 crew members injured during the battle. The ship had suffered casualties, 3 dead when a Drakari energy beam had penetrated the hull, but remarkably few given the intensity of the engagement. On the bridge, Maya sat in her command chair, reviewing damage reports with Commander Okafor. Engineering estimates 2 weeks for basic repairs, he concluded. We'll need to return to Earth for complete restoration of the main railgun. Maya nodded slowly. And the Drakari? Completely routed, Rashid reported with satisfaction. The command ship was destroyed, along with both remaining dreadnoughts and 11 support vessels. The survivors fled the system. And the cost was worth it, Park added from communications. The Etherian civilian transports all made it to safety. Over 8,000 souls saved. Maya allowed herself a small smile at that. Our first mission in the galaxy, and we've already made both friends and enemies. Typical human luck. The view screen activated, showing the approaching Etherian vessels. Commander Vrex's ship had been joined by 2 larger vessels, reinforcements that had arrived too late for the battle but in time for the aftermath. Captain, Park announced, I'm receiving a transmission from the largest Etherian vessel. It's, it's identified as carrying representatives of their High Council. Maya straightened in her chair, smoothing her uniform. Put them through. The screen shifted to show an Aetherian unlike any they had seen before, larger, with 6 eyes instead of 4, its translucent skin showing intricate patterns of bioluminescence that pulsed with deliberate rhythm. Captain Maya Huang of Earth, the alien began, its voice translated with surprising clarity. I am High Speaker Zilven of the Aetherian Collective. We have received Commander Vrex's report of your intervention and unconventional tactics. Maya inclined her head respectfully. High Speaker, the Prometheus responded as any Earth vessel would to a distress call. Your people were under no obligation to involve yourselves in our conflict, Zelvan observed. Yet you risked your vessel and the lives of your crew for beings you had only recently encountered. That's who we are, Maya replied simply. Humanity doesn't stand by when innocents are threatened, regardless of species. The High Speaker's inner lights pulsed in a pattern that the translator didn't attempt to interpret. The Collective has fought the Drakari for nearly a century, Captain Wang. In all that time, we have never witnessed a single engagement where they suffered such decisive losses. We had the advantage of surprise, Maya said modestly. They weren't prepared for our methods. Indeed. The High Speaker's mandibles clicked softly. The Drakari adapt quickly. They will study this encounter and prepare countermeasures for your weapons. Yet the fact remains, a single human vessel accomplished what entire Aetherian battle groups could not. Maya exchanged glances with Okafor before responding. What are you suggesting, High Speaker? The Collective would like to propose a formal alliance with Earth. We can offer technology, resources, and protection for your homeworld. In return, we ask for your assistance in this war. Not just your weapons, but your perspective. Your humanity. The bridge fell silent as the crew absorbed the implications. In a single engagement, Earth had gone from an isolated planet to a potential power in galactic politics. Maya chose her words carefully. I'm honored by your proposal, High Speaker, but I lack the authority to negotiate such an agreement. I would need to return to Earth and present this to our unified governments. Of course, Zilvan agreed. We will dispatch diplomatic vessels to accompany you home. There is much our peoples can learn from each other. As the communication ended, Maya looked around at her bridge crew, humans who had just made history without fully realizing it. Well, she said with a wry smile, I think our mission parameters have officially been exceeded. Okafor chuckled. First contact, first battle, first alliance offer. Not bad for our maiden voyage. Maya's expression grew more serious. This is just the beginning. The galaxy is larger and more dangerous than we imagined, but also filled with more wonder. She gazed at the starfield on the view screen. We've taken our first steps into that galaxy, and there's no going back now. The Prometheus turned toward home, its hull battle-scared but intact, much like humanity itself, tested by fire, but emerging stronger. And across the stars, word began to spread of the newcomers who fought unlike any species before them, the humans who had entered the battlefield in glory and left it forever changed.